Okay, let's review Thursday, April 11th NHL playoff games. There was three of them on tonight. Toronto versus Boston, Washington versus Carolina, and Colorado versus Calgary. Starting off with the Bruin Maple Leafs game, Toronto just used their speed to their advantage. The only way you're going to beat Boston is to smother them on the forecheck, the back check, and be responsible without the puck and stay positionally responsible defensively. Those were a lot of words strung together. I hope I can't even keep track of what I just said. In any case, Toronto did all that. That plus they really exploited some of Boston's slow defensemen. Chara, for instance. Pasternak didn't really have a good game. Boston's second line didn't do too well. And Tuukka Rask didn't play bad, but it was okay. It wasn't good enough, let's put it that way. Whereas Anderson for the Leafs, Frederik Anderson in net, played really well. He was like Carey Price calm all game, even after that first goal. Marner was fantastic all night. We'll get more into that. And Nylander even scored a goal. Matthews, although he didn't have a point, he rang at least a few of them off the crossbar. He did look dangerous, and he was defensively responsible as well. Johnson and Kapanen, some of Toronto's players having their sort of first full year at regular season and the playoffs, looked a bit more experienced, and they looked good out there as well. So Toronto's depth really shone through. I'm not saying that, Toronto's got to be very aware of Boston in the next game because they're going to shut down the middle of that ice, including not just the neutral zone, but in front of the goalie. So the next game is going to be very interesting. Let's get into the stats, shall we? The goaltending. Frederik Anderson got the win, saved 37-38 with a .974 save percentage. Rask took the loss, saved 29 of 32 with a .906 save percentage. Team stats, we have faceoffs were dead even, 32 apiece, which is, Toronto's in the top 5 in faceoffs during the regular season. Boston's not too, maybe 7th or so. Of course, Bergeron is real terrific. But him and Tavares they went almost dead even all night long. But that's just funny to see that's, a dead even faceoff number again like that, because there was two of them yesterday in last night's game, which is bizarre for that to even happen once. In any case, the power play, Toronto goes 0 for 1, Boston 1 for 2. Not many penalties. The refs really put their whistles away in this game. Leafs could have had at least 3-4 more power plays, especially Chara got away with a lot of stuff. But Boston could have probably gotten an extra power play or two as well. The hits in this game were 33-31 for Toronto. Yeah, I didn't stutter. Toronto out-hit Boston. Now, during the regular season, Toronto's one of the bottom 4 teams in the league for hits, which is like 16 or 17 per game. And they have 33 hits. Now, it was not like they were bone-crushing, but that's part of the whole forecheck, backcheck mentality, separate the guy from the puck kind of deal. Shots, Boston outshot them 38-33. Let's just move on to the scoring here quickly. First period, Bergeron on the power play. It's a beautiful slap, no-look pass from Marchand straight to him. Frederik Anderson has no chance on this one, and he puts it right in. That was also assisted by Krug. Then Leafs tie it up. Marner gets a sort of a big goalmouth scramble, just bangs in a rebound that pops out right to him, assisted by Muzzin and Tavares. So it's 1-1. Second period, Toronto goes ahead 2-1 on a penalty shot. I want to say this is the Toronto Maple Leafs' first ever penalty shot in the playoffs. And Marner's got it because he sort of gets slew-footed on a breakaway on Rask. Who did it? Was it McAvoy? I can't remember which Boston player it was. Doesn't matter. But on the penalty shot, I know Marner doesn't have... he's a great passer and everything, great playmaker, but he doesn't have the best shot. I know he's shooting more, but he's, it's nothing like Matthews or even Tavares. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, he's going to miss this. Rask's going to save this. And he dekes the daylights out of Rask. He dekes him out of his pants, and he puts it in. And it was such an amazing penalty shot. I don't think any goalie could have saved that. So it's hard to blame that on Rask. I know some Boston fans may want to jump on him, but you look at that it was a sick goal. And that's the thing. Marner doesn't have the best shot in the league, but he can deke the pants off of you, which is what he did. If you're going to watch any highlight from this game, that's the one to check out. Now, Leafs then go ahead 3-1. So these odd man chances, these breakaways, this was a breakaway again on Rask. So although Nylander put it between his legs, it was a snapshot between his legs, you can't blame Rask too much because it was another breakaway. And that was assisted by Kadri and Marleau. That's Toronto's third line. That's huge. In this series, if they're going to win, not just their first and second line have got to make a difference, but that third line is especially key for Toronto because Nylander is not playing with Matthews on the second or 1A or 1B line. He's on the third line with Kadri and Marleau. In any case, third period, Tavares gets the empty netter. Not just any empty netter, because the faceoff was in the middle of the ice. He loses the face-off, but then guesses where the pass is going to go, intercepts it from his knees, and puts it in. So he worked for that empty netter goal. And in the 3 stars of the night, of course, Marner, being number 1, had 2 goals, was a +3 with just over 19 minutes of ice time. Second star was Frederik Andersen with a .974 save percentage. And third star was Patrice Bergeron with a goal, and who was a -2. So that means if he had a goal and he was a -2, that means he was on the ice for 3 of the Leaf goals. I'm pretty sure, if my math is correct. And he had just under 20 minutes of ice time. Let's move on to the next game, where the Carolina Hurricanes lost to the Washington Capitals 4-2. Now, I missed a lot of the first 2 periods of this game because I was just so entrenched in the Leafs-Bruins game. But I obviously saw a lot of the highlights, and I watched most of the third. As soon as I started watching the third, it's when Carolina made this game interesting. But I mean, hey, who are we kidding? Washington's gonna win this series, but Carolina's not gonna go quiet into the night. A little poetry for you there, because in the first period there was a lot of hitting. Carolina, I kind of look at Carolina as not just a plucky team, but kind of like last year's Vegas, but Vegas light, without, the scoring. But they looked good, and I can't blame this on the goaltender Marzik either, whom they started, who I think they might even go for in the next game as well, as opposed to McElhinney, because the goals Washington scored were kind of like, again, they were seeing eye goals. No chance rebounds, deflections, that kind of deal. Let's go to the stats. Goaltending. Holtby saved 27 of 29 with a .931 save percentage. The loss, of course, goes to Mrazek, who saved 14 of 17. Washington only got 17 shots on net. So he had a .824 save percentage. And yeah, you still can't blame Mrazek for this, really, because those goals were... Washington had more high danger chances than the Hurricanes, even though they didn't have that many shots on net. And Hurricanes, they're a big shot suppression team. I think they finished 3rd overall in the league, and they shoot from everywhere. Not as much as anymore as attuned to the 29 shots they had, but when we go over the goals, they were really, really nice for her Hurricanes, as opposed to Washington's, which were kind of lucky for the most part. Let's look at the team stats. Face-offs were 39-28 for the Hurricanes. Washington is one of the worst face-off team in the league during the regular season. Power play, Carolina goes 0 for 3, Washington 2 for 4. Carolina's got to do something on the power play if you're going to win games. Again, like, did I mention this earlier? No. Oh, that's with the next game. Just forget what I just said. Let's move on. Hits. Carolina takes the edge 38-35. This was a good old-fashioned hit kind of hockey game here. Shots were 29-18 for the Hurricanes. And let's just jump right into the scoring. First period, Backstrom gets a goal assisted by Carlson and Orprik. This was a seeing eye shot. Marzik didn't see it at all. It was kind of lucky. Then Washington goes ahead 2-0. Another goal by Backstrom, who had a really good game. He even blocked a bunch of shots too in the third period that kept Hurricanes from tying it. So even though he got some easy goals here, because that second goal was just a bang-in off a rebound on the power play, which was assisted by, I have this burp or hiccup that I'm trying to suppress, which is why I sound weird. My voice is going up and down. Which is assisted by Kuznetsov and Carlson. Carlson gets his second point of the game already. Then Washington goes ahead 3-0. A goal by Ovechkin, because of course he has to score every game on the power play, assisted by Wilson and Carlson, who now has 3 assists on the game. I want to say 1 was primary and 2 were secondary. Second period, no goals. Third period is when I really started to watch just before Svechnikov scored this goal, which was a beauty. He did a Glenn Anderson racing down the sideboards, cutting in front of the net. He did a little doobie-daddle and then put it through Holtby. Gorgeous goal, assisted by Wallmark and Hamilton. That's one of the highlights of the game for sure. But this next goal that he scores is almost prettier. Not quite, but almost. Because Wallmark goes on the far left side, beside the net, and then slap passes it diagonally back out to the top right circle. Are you following me so far? Right to Svechnikov, who's like already in a windmill position, who just Holtby had no chance. Beautiful goal again. That was also assisted by Falk. Fantastic pass by Wallmark. It went through like 3 players, including 2 Washington Capitals and 1 of his own. How it even got to Svechnikov in the first place was, a little bit lucky, obviously. And then, of course, Eller scores the empty netter to douse the Hurricanes' comeback. And there you have it. The 3 stars of the game. Washington's Backstrom gets the first star with 2 goals. He breaks even and played just over 18 minutes. But again, he blocked some shots as well. He had a good game, even though those goals were lucky. Second star was Svechnikov, of course, with 2 goals. He was a +2 and only 13:37 in ice time. That's like third line minutes. I'm wondering if Brendan Moore might up those a little bit next time. But maybe that's why he scored the goals, because he worked against a lesser line. Whatever. Third star, Carlson, who has 3 assists. He's a +1 on the night and played just over 25 minutes a game. That's no shock there. He's their number 1 D. And that's it for that one. Let's move on to the Calgary Flames beating the Colorado Avalanche 4-0. I missed mostly of the first period, which is okay because it was boring. There was no goals. Calgary just really overall exploited Colorado's depth in this one. Calgary was getting scoring from most of all their lines, really. And Colorado maybe had like 3 or 4 high danger chances, but Smith wasn't challenged that often, but when he was there and he made the saves. Obviously expect to see him in the next game as well. And then Tkachuk was his normal irritating self, and there was there a couple of fights. There was definitely a lot of nastiness in this game, which is just going to accelerate. Blossom. How's that for words? That's poetry. In the next game. So anyway, in any case, let's move on to the stats here. The goaltending. Smith gets the win with a 26-save shutout. Grubauer gets the loss, saves 28 of 31 shots with a .903 save percentage. You can't really. It's hard to blame Grubauer on those 3 goals. They were tips. He just was completely screened. Maybe the third goal he kind of should have had, but we'll get more into details about that in a second. Team stats, face-offs. Calgary wins that department 44-24. Colorado is one of the worst in the bottom 5 in the league for faceoffs. Calgary's in the top 5, so that's no surprise there. Power play, Calgary goes 2 for 5. Colorado goes 0 for 4. How do you go 0 for 4 with McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog on the power play? How do you do it? I know Calgary's got a really good defense, and Smith was kind of having a hot night, but come on. 4 chances? You deserve to lose. They've got to do something about that. Hits, 39-33 for Calgary. Calgary, just like I mentioned earlier about the Leafs in the hits department, Calgary, as well as Toronto, are in the bottom 4 in the league during the regular season for hits, which was around 16 or 17. And now we see 39. Again, they weren't bone-crushing Dion Phaneuf, Scott Stephen kind of hits, but they were, separated to get the guy from the puck kind of deal. So these teams are definitely upping their game, even with a lot of finesse players. Although one could argue Calgary's got a lot of grinders who don't mind mucking it up, like Tkachuk, for instance, etc., etc. Shots were 32-26 for Calgary. Colorado, you got to put more than 26 shots when Mike Smith is in net if you want to score. You know their goaltending is okay. It's been up and down all season long. You got to take advantage of that. So, halfway through the second period, maybe the end of the second period, was when Coach Bednar from the Avalanche started to put his lines into a blender to try and make stuff happen. And McKinnon was the only one I felt that was noticeable on the ice. Maybe Calvert. He's a bit of an irritator, and Ian Cole played, well defensively for them. But I didn't notice Rantanen too much. Or Landeskog played okay. He mucked it up in front of the net, but in any case, let's get to the scoring. First period, no goals. And what? Okay. Oh, second period. Mangiapane, one of my top 10 favorite hockey names to say in the league. Mangiapane, of course, is Italian for eat the bread, eat it. He gets his first goal, 4th liner too, and it was beauty. You want to see any highlight of this game? That's the goal you had to watch from this 4th liner. He was playing his first NHL playoff game. He looked, he dipsy-doodled in front of the net. He had some assistance from another 4th liner. We can't think of his name right now. It was a bit of a scramble, but he really, just go watch it. 2-0 on a goal from Tkachuk on the power play. A tip Grubauer had no chance on, assisted by Giordano and Lindholm. Then the third period, Backlund scores on the power play, assisted by Bennett and Anderson. Grubauer didn't see this at all. I think he had 3 players in front of him. Maybe you could argue he should track that puck better. He should be in more of a butterfly position because it went, it hit him in his right foot. He kind of stepped on it almost, and then it went in. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Minutia. Tkachuk then makes it 4-0 in the third, gets the empty netter, his second goal of the game, assisted by Mike Smith. Mike Smith gets a point and a shutout in the game. Do they have some sort of Gordie Howe equivalent for, a goalie? Gets an assist, a point, and a shutout. We should call it if Gordie Howe, it's the Gordie Howe hat trick, we should call it something like the Patrick Waugh. When Martin Brodeur, I don't know. My mind's trailing off. It's going blank. I would love to hear what you think that should be called in the comments section and down below. 3 stars of the evening, all Calgary Flames, to no surprise. Mike Smith gets 26 saves in the shutout. Tkachuk, number 2, with 2 goals, a +1, over 20 minutes of nice time. And then number 3, Mangiapane. Thank you for letting me say that twice. And he gets the goal. He's a +1 on the night. And he only played 7:47 all night long on the 4th line, again. But if Calgary's getting depth scoring like that, Colorado's in trouble, especially if they can't do anything on the special teams. Isn't Colorado... I want to say Colorado is maybe 7th or so in the league on the power play. And I just disappeared today. In any case... that's it. That's all. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments in the little boxes below. And if you like this video, hit that like button. If you really like it, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.